to another episode of Coder Conversations. It's Kevin.
This is TC.
Yeah, what's been going on, man?
Chilling. Uh, been busy with work and the side gig stuff. That's been cool. Um, yeah, just like you know, just learning. For lack of better
Man,
words, just learning.
never stops, man. Gotta kind of balance it so you don't get burnt out. Because I gotta
Yeah.
really deep dive into React again. That's where what all the new, the new jobs seem to be. And you
hmm
have a couple in Angular, but mostly React.
Yeah. Yeah. And no, I'm thankful for this gig that I got. Like
Mm,
I I'm getting a lot of like hands-on experience with like React and stuff, and like learning how to do things like the React way, where like I'll come up with a solution for something, and it'll be all in like pure JavaScript, like because you can still
yeah,
write in JavaScript inside of the component or whatever. And he's like, "Yeah, this works, but can we make it more React friendly?"
yeah,
So I'm like, "All
yeah.
right, let me figure it out." But
Yeah,
it's
it's good to
cool.
kind of let you learn without the pressure of getting fired.
Yeah, yeah. I told him that same thing. I was like, "Man, like." It's a blessing to be able to like touch this stuff and not actually not have that pressure of like, oh, I gotta perform, I gotta actually put in work.
But I think sometimes people got to look at it like just getting the experience is worth the price of you just doing so-called free labor. Like if you could get in on a hot new technology.
Yeah. And I saw this post the other day by Raymond Gahn, and he was talking about how like a lot of entry level developers were having a hard time getting jobs, right? And he was
Yeah.
recommending that, or he didn't recommend, but he was sharing a post by somebody that recommended developers just get like QA positions, and like
Mhm.
that would give them the exposure to the like it might not be like actual software development, right? Like building out
Mhm.
the features and stuff, but you like I was just skimming through his points, and he made a lot of good points about like you still get exposure, like finding a good like QA engineer is hard these days.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, I know there's a meme like, oh, you don't want to be a QA engineer, but like QA like a solid QA engineer, like eh, I feel like it's still development. Like you're still like testing, like you're still like you're making like you're adding resilience right to the platform. So I think like a
Mhm.
solid QA engineer like really like tests or what's what I'm looking for. It's like when you have strong tests, you can't just push whatever to the code base, and
Mhm.
that's what makes your code base a lot stronger. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think I'm about to disagree with that point on
Really?
jumping into QA because once you get there, you're gonna get stuck. Because
Oh,
I know firsthand a couple of guys who jumped into QA and they're stuck there. They like,
they
oh
can't
yeah,
get
we're
out.
gonna we're gonna we're gonna have a development position for you later on, but no, they just keep it because if you're good at that, they're gonna like you say, it's hard to find a good QA engineer. So if you're there, they're gonna keep you there. Like because technically you don't have
Yeah.
experience developing in that technology, that you want. You know what I mean?
I mean, do you? That's the thing, right? Like, how do you say that somebody can't do something if you don't give them the opportunity to do it? Like
Okay.
you you might say, like, okay, yeah, he's a QA engineer, he knows like all these testing libraries, and he understands like he might understand React or whatever, but like what if he did have the chops to actually perform as a developer, right? Like,
Well, because at AT&T, I know a couple of people firsthand. Like I was working with them, like training them up to be jump in and do React, but they
yeah,
put them on a QA team and stuck them there. Like you
mm,
know, kind of held the React thing as a prompt. Like yeah, you'll get to be a developer
it's
soon,
it.
but they just kept them.
Um, that's the horse and the carrot. It's always like, oh yeah, you'll get there. Yeah, we got this thing
Yeah,
coming up. We got this thing coming up, and they never get it.
Well,
Yeah.
some people might be able to parlay it, but I guess if you just want a job, do it. But kind of like if you should go in doing what you want to do. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I know you're kind of in a conundrum. Like, okay, I can program, I know JavaScript, but it's not. My primary experience isn't in React, so
Right.
hard for people to say, hey, we're gonna hire you for React.
Right. Exactly. And that's the thing where it's like just because my resume or my LinkedIn says like Shopify, right? That doesn't mean that I don't know React, right? I don't know JavaScript, I don't know ES6, I don't know like
Mhm.
how to do CRUD operations and all that other type of stuff. And the lines are going to get really blurry in a second, or maybe less blurry, I guess you could say, um, depending on how you look at it, because Shopify is actually working on this platform called Hydrogen. And so
Mhm.
what that does is it's based on Git, right? So they're switching from their own theme manager to Git as their version control, and
Mhm.
then they have this React application essentially that they call Hydrogen. Like that's their base of a bunch of like that's their library of like components and stuff.
Mhm.
And you can basically develop your Shopify store using React.
Right. So once that's out, then at least you would have actual, technically React experience. So that
Right.
that'd be good for those on that Shopify stack to break out of the.
Yeah.
So they kind of treat Shopify like oh you're a WordPress developer or something like, kind of
Right.
like, even though it might not be that, like, oh you're not technically doing real program. That's how they treat it. But even
Yeah.
though you are.
It's not always like that, especially once you get into like the real custom
Yeah.
like stuff, like Word, just like WordPress, right? Like you could build your site on top of WordPress, but then
Yeah.
like you could build a PHP plugin suite, and those PHP plugins can be completely custom to
Yeah.
whatever that you want. Like
You know it's that perception game. Like, you're doing a lot of hardcore stuff, but they're still like, oh, he's a WordPress
yeah,
shop guy.
CMS developer.
Yeah,
Yep. Yeah, you got
that's
to break out of it.
it's crazy, but perception matters, man. As
Yeah.
unfortunate as that is at times.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, man. What do you think about Sega? They're about to release a new Sonic collection. Well, it's kind of like all the old games, but
Hmm.
they're putting it in a collection.
Uh, well, like you said, perception matters, right? And like
Yeah,
when I first mentioned it to you, I was like, oh, this is sick. Like it's being
yeah,
remade by the people that did Sonic Mania, right?
yeah.
They did like a really good job on their own like remix stages and stuff. But then like once I saw the trailer, and I'm like, wait a minute, hold up, like it's like at first glance, I'm like, it just looks like the same game, right?
Yeah.
And then uh, you know, and then at the end, Sega kind of gave you all like five or six. I think it was like five different packages that you could buy, like the base
Yeah,
game or like the I don't know what. Like it was like small little differences of
yeah.
each.
Animated
Like
intro,
yeah,
extra
the DLC
$5.
version. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm just like, come on, man.
yeah,
Like most people have like a standard and the deluxe. Like just keep it simple. You don't have to have
yeah.
like five different versions of a game.
Right. Exactly. Like, they're kind of like putting features behind a paywall, like, which is kind of, it's
Yeah,
greedy to me.
yeah. You hurt your perception. Like now people are gonna look at you like, oh, you just want like you're cashing out on nostalgia, and now
Yeah,
um you want to nickel and dime people for every little thing because you know that at the end of the day you don't really have much to offer with this package.
yeah. I think they're trying to capitalize off that movie. Like, for whatever reason, those Sonic movies are like hugely. It almost seems like the movie's more popular than the game now.
Mm-hmm.
But like,
Yeah.
you could buy the Genesis collection that has Sonic 1, 2, and 3, and like 50 other games for like less than that new Sonic collection. But I guess they add like widescreen support and stuff. So
Yeah, widescreen support, cutscenes, like animated
$40.
cutscenes. Um, but I mean, like Nintendo does it all the time when they
Yeah.
re-release packages or whatever. It's always like, oh, get the Mario collection for $60, and then they do some
Mhm.
crazy mess where it's like, oh, this is only a limited release until March, whatever. I forget what day it was, but it was like a month or so of like a window that you could buy a game. It
Right.
doesn't make sense. It's not a game then. Like,
Yeah, Nintendo's kind of known for that kind of stuff, like overpricing their stuff, or
yeah,
remake like 50% of the good Switch games are from the Wii U.
yeah.
Mario Kart 8, Mario 3D World,
Well,
Donkey Kong, Tropical Freeze.
they couldn't sell Xenoblade, right? I think Xenoblade 1 and 2 was ported
Yeah,
over from the Wii U, right? Or the first one, I
Breath
think.
of the Wild too. Did you know that?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
Wii
that
U.
was ported too. So it's like they're just trying to make money on stuff that they've already made. They don't necessarily need to make money, or they don't need to pay somebody to develop it out again.
Yeah,
You know?
I guess if they can get away with it, they're like, why not? It's just money in the bank. People are gonna
Yeah.
buy it. So
Capcom does it too
yeah,
with like Resident Evil 4. Like they've re-released Resident Evil 4 like a bunch of times.
I feel like
Um,
Capcom actually puts in effort in their stuff though. Like like the Resident Evil remakes are actual like
oh,
remake.
that's a totally different ball game. I mean, like a
Yeah,
port. If it's a remake, a reimagining, like Final Fantasy 7 remake, or like
yeah,
RE2 remake or RE3 remake. Um, like those are great. Those are great because it's not the same game. You're not paying for the same experience, right? But
mhm,
if it's like, oh, let me just take Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and 3 and put it on PC, and then boom, like with no extra content, right? Okay, it's the same game but just on a different platform. Like there's nothing new to it.
yeah,
Um, yeah, man, it's crazy how these companies can kind of be like too greedy almost to the point where
yeah,
it's like you just push you it's yeah, you're just pushing that envelope.
yeah. They're kind of sapping the fun out of gaming. Microsoft and Sony recently they're developing a platform to have like ads in games. They say technically it's for like free to play stuff, but it's gonna make its way over to paid games eventually.
They did that in 2K. I forget what version of 2K they did that with, but it was like between was it either between matches or before games started, you had like ads for like TV shows and stuff.
Was it like commercial, like a
Yeah.
commercial, or was it like,
Yeah, it
man?
was like a commercial for like Snowfall or like other. I need to look it up, but like it was a commercial for like an actual TV show within the game. Yeah.
It makes me wonder if they're gonna stop trying to speed up the load time so they can fit in some commercials in there.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised. I
I
wouldn't be
might stop.
surprised.
Yeah, if I have to watch commercials on a game that I paid $60 for, I might just stop playing.
Yeah, what you mean? You don't like being advertised to all the time for every little
Like
thing?
YouTube goes crazy with those ads, man. Like you're pretty much forced to buy a premium or go crazy. So
No, I got ad blockers. I
no,
got
okay,
like I have like two ad blockers, and if an ad gets through that, then I'm just probably gonna switch to Brave. I don't know if
what do you do
you.
about the phones? Because like with YouTube on the phone, you can't really like
I just suffer through
multitask. Oh, okay.
it.
Yeah,
yeah. When it comes to that, I just suffer through it. But like
yeah,
if it's on my PC, yeah, I just have ad blockers.
yeah, man. Yeah, these companies is getting crazy, man, with the nickel and diamond. Like I look at the price of if you want the so-called deluxe edition, it's like $100 now. Like
Of
a
what?
six, like just different games, like
Mhm.
say like Assassin's Creed. They had like the Ultimate Deluxe Edition, $100.
Mhm.
Uh, the medium edition is like 80. The
Yeah,
bare bones edition like 60 or 70.
yeah. And the thing is about those deluxe editions is like back in the day, right? When you bought a deluxe edition, for example, you got physical content with it.
Yeah.
You got like a statue, or you got like a book, or like a guidebook or an art book or
Mhm.
something. You got something physical. But nowadays it's like, oh, get 500 XP bonus, or
Yeah.
get like you get all this digital stuff that's like not real. Like you're
Right.
spending all this money up front, but it's all digital. And then like in the
Mm.
next year or so, the next game is going to come out like when COD, right? I don't know if COD has like deluxe editions. They probably do. But let's say for example they do. But then you get the pre-order now and get an XP bonus or
Yeah.
get it, try the beta and get all these bonuses and blah 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 blah. But
Yeah, that's
it's not physical. You can't take it with you.
yeah. And the problem is, when they start designing the games around that, like if you don't get the ultimate edition with 2 XP bonus, you're never gonna level up. It takes forever.
Yeah,
I felt like that Assassin's Creed, the one in Greek, I think Odyssey,
Odyssey,
that was kind of like that. Like it took forever to level up after a while.
man,
They kind of like pushing you towards,
it's a grind.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And like they don't. That as a developer, like you like, oh, I could simply just turn this down or like turn this off and like make the experience a lot easier, right? But oh, yeah, have you heard of this game called Anthem?
yeah.
Like back in the
Please
day,
come
it failed,
older.
but they did something similar where like it was like a games as a service type deal, right? And
Mhm.
it it was a live like a games as a service, right? Live service type deal, but they pushed some update to the game, and
Mhm.
it made it. I believe it made like getting loot and like getting like actual valuable content like a lot
Yeah,
easier. And they patched it out, saying that,
yeah,
and in the patch notes they were like, "Oh, there was a bug that caused this to happen, and we patched it out." And it's like, no, you guys knew exactly what you were doing.
yeah.
Like, you guys are purposely trying to make the game harder.
What do you think about the inclusion of like NFTs in all of these upcoming games? It feels like that's another angle to get you.
I feel like there's gonna be a lot of pushback there. I feel
Yeah.
like NFTs have no place in like I don't understand the idea of an NFT, but I feel like NFTs don't have a place in a game. When I think of a game, like I think about like a movie. If I buy the movie for $26, right? I
Hmm.
own that movie. I own the physical version of that movie. I have it in its complete version, right? Like back in the
Yep.
day when you went out and bought a game, like if I bought a copy of Legend of Dragoon, all right, Legend of Dragoon is like 3-4 discs. That's it. I got the whole game right there
Hmm.
in palm of my hands.
Yeah,
I don't
like
need
that.
to look up, and there's no like DLC that I got to download and all this other type of stuff.
Yeah, like the NFT would be you owning like this exclusive sword, like
Right,
1 to 500 or something. Like,
right.
yeah,
It's
it's-
like okay, cool, but what does it do?
but
Like,
that's really crazy to me is that I was thinking about this, but companies are literally like making things up out of thin air for us to buy. Like, we've already bought enough physical stuff, so it's like, oh,
right,
let's make something up. Like, have you ever thought about like why is gold just considered so valuable? It's like a rock. Why
right.
are we fighting and killing over it? Same with diamonds, and
Diamonds
now
as well.
it went from that to just ones and zeros in digital space. Like,
Yeah, yeah. It's all about perception. It's all
yeah,
about that perception. It's and like once you, I'm gonna get like a little like left field, but like when it comes to like that baseline of like pleasure and like okay, like this is my baseline of enjoyment. Like that you set a bar, and it's like okay, it's almost when it comes to money, right? Okay, hey, you get your first job. Like my first job, I made $8.25 like an
mm,
hour. Okay, cool. That's my baseline. When I got a raise to $10, okay, my new baseline is now $10. If I leave this job and go to another one, I gotta have at least $10 an hour, right?
yeah,
When it comes to like your gold and jewelry and stuff, it's like okay, money is like that baseline of always having more and always wanting more, and like okay, I gotta
yeah,
have diamonds, and now once I get diamonds, I gotta have pearls, and once I got pearls, I gotta have gold and
mhm,
silver, and it's like you're just jumping from one thing to the next. You're just chasing that dragon.
yeah. It just They just, they're making up stuff so that, we buy and they kind of sell it to you. Like, oh, you need these new digital Nikes on your Fortnite character, limited edition.
Right. It's that FOMO. It's that
Yeah.
fear. Yep.
But
Exactly.
like you mentioned in a previous episode, as soon as you delete the game or whatever, all of that stuff just
It's gone.
disappeared.
Yep. It's gone. And all
Yeah,
that money
so
that
it's
you
your
spent
money.
on it is gone.
Yeah.
Speaking from experience, man, like I would drop like $60 on the new COD, $66, with tax and
Yeah.
everything. And then like every time they dropped the map pack, I would buy it. Okay, $20, $20.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
every game was not $60. It came out to like $120 per game, like that I was dishing out. And I think I did that for like 3 or 4 years, and it's like, dang, like that's $500 right there, just
Yeah.
gone.
You don't think about it. Yeah. But at least you were buying like something that enhanced the gameplay. You wasn't buying like little digital skins and stuff. But
Yeah,
that's the cost of looking cool. They give you the boring avatar, but you want to look halfway decent. Come off that money.
yeah. No, I can't. I don't know, man. I can't see myself being a developer and like purposely making a game harder or making an
Mhm.
experience worse for customers just because we want to sell you a solution. I can't see myself making a problem to sell a solution. That just, it makes me feel bad.
Like so if you was at you were working at a video gaming company, you working on the game, it was cool, but the CEO said, hey, we want you to kind of change and alter the gameplay systems. We need to, generate some extra money. Like, would you quit?
That's tough because, like, you know, if I'm working on something and I believe in the product, right, but like it's bogged down by like a bunch of like microtransactions and things like that, like that's tough. Like I know, like I would like not more than like 5-10 seconds ago, I was like, man, yeah, I can't see myself working in that
Yeah.
environment, but like I can see like if somebody's really in a situation where if you're a game developer company, you need this contract and you don't at a certain point they've signed the contract, the game needs to be gold in 3 to 5 years or whatever, holiday of 2026, and you just need to get it out there.
Yeah.
And that's your, like, once you sign the contract and you're in, right? Like I can't see myself getting out of it. It's not like I could just jump up and get onto a new game unless I have just money backed up where I could just be like, all right, I'm out, I quit.
Right. Yeah. But it's really kind of crazy. It's like we're letting kids gamble. You heard of Gacha, GACHA, I believe.
Gacha games.
Genshin is kind of like one of that. What that means is like I believe it's like a vending machine. Kind of like you spend money and you randomly get some kind of, we're kind of teaching kids gambling at a young age. I've heard of like kids like using their parents' credit card and running up hundreds of dollars buying this stuff.
Yeah,
Could you
they don't
see
understand the
on that?
Nah. And if I was forced onto a team that was like working in that type of, like working on something that if I had wind of that, like I knew it, I would probably turn a blind eye. Like,
Yeah.
And like at least try to teach people like, hey, you don't have to swipe your mom's credit card to do this. I think like at least nowadays, like we have to, as a people, like as a human race, like we have to understand that like there's just a sense of you don't have to do this. Like don't get caught up in that FOMO. Like, oh, just because you have the basic skin, it doesn't change the gameplay. It doesn't change your experience, right? Just because you have the flashy skin and the gun with the scope or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you have to have some level of morality. Like, sometimes recruiters, they even ask me, like, what kind of companies do you not want to work for? I kind of tell them, like, I don't want to work for, like, military, companies that's producing weapons and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't want to work for, like, I have worked for a bank before, Citigroup, but I don't really want to work for, like, loan sharking type, give people high interest loans and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, you have to have like some level of morality.
Morality. Yeah. Yeah. But how do you? The thing is this. I'm gonna
Yeah,
counter that. Where like in a world where if you just need a job and somebody offered you a position and you have to work at a bank, would you take it? Like you push comes to shove, you
yeah,
need a job, would you take it?
yeah. More than likely, you will take it because like even if you think about it, like I worked at Citigroup, I worked at McDonald's. Like at
Hmm.
least those companies have some level of ethics, but there's like some flat out like slime baggish companies
Hmm.
that are really taking advantage of people. You know what I mean? And but even in that case, if you're hungry and starving, people do anything to survive. So
Right.
it's
That's
like
the thing where it's like you have to like people just do what they got to do to survive. It might
sometimes
not
it
be the
seems like
best.
morality is a luxury. Sometimes, like you have the money stored up. It's easy to say, well, yeah, I'm not going to do that. But what if you can't pay your bills? Like
Yeah.
it's a lot harder to say no then.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
All
Yeah.
right, that's kind of why it's important to save money, man. Like, so
Yeah.
you're not forced into a situation you don't want to be in.
It's not always easy though.
Yeah,
Like
it's not.
when push comes to shove, like the minimum wage hasn't gone up in some odd years. I don't know off the top of my head, but I know that like my sister right now, like whenever I talk to her, it's like, how would you live right now, like without me? Like if I got hit by a car and I was just
Yeah,
done,
get your
like how
life.
would you make it? And she's like, I don't know. And like that's the reality of it is like
Yeah,
it's a messed up way to look at things, but you got to look at that because if
that's the
life does
reality.
take that twist, you at least you thought about it, you know?
Because man, if you
Yeah.
think about it, like the kind of like relatively stress-free existence we've had, this is like an anomaly. Like most of history has been starvation, famine, like Great Depression,
Yeah.
wars, all kind of stuff. But we've only lived in this like relative ease, so we're not used to the other things. So it's almost like it doesn't exist, but it does. So
It does
you have
exist.
to
Yeah.
think and prepare for it, so it doesn't touch you, or you
Yeah.
can limit its effects. So like I
Yeah.
guess like even with your sister, like if she can't plan, you might have to sort of plan for her and like, okay, I'm gonna have a nice life insurance policy for you, or
Right, exactly.
I'm gonna stay on you to get a decent job. Like,
Stay,
you're better than this.
exactly. To just be like, hey man, you're good. Um but yeah, man, I think this is a good place to stop.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, yeah. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. Y'all have a good one.
All right.
Peace.
Peace.